Hello, everybody. I am your host, Mr. Wildcat, and I hope you all have been having a wonderful new year. I do apologize for not being on the air for a while. I unfortunately got very sick right after New Year's, and this is the best that I have felt since then. So instead of watching me hack my lungs out every 2 seconds, we decided to take a brief hiatus and get well before I came back to do more videos. Okay? So we are back. Mr. Wildcat is today going to be returning to what he started off on this channel, which was reviewing episodes of Married Children. Okay, I haven't done a review in 3 months. Okay, I'd like to give a shout out to Steven over at the Married Children podcast, who recently joined my channel. Welcome aboard, Steven. Recently got a hold of me, Steven. I do apologize for not getting back with you. As I said, I got very sick and haven't been able to respond, but congratulations. He basically thought of me when he remembered when he saw my Arizona Wildcats playing his Oklahoma Sooners in the Alamo Bowl. Okay, this was the only third time that Arizona and Oklahoma played each other in school history. The other two times you have to go back to about 35 years ago. Mr. Wildcat was still in diapers the last time these two had played. A home and home series in the late 80s, in 1988 and 1989. Sooners won the first matchup in Oklahoma, while the Wildcats won the second matchup in Tucson. And then the Wildcats winded up beating the Sooners in the Alamo Bowl. And it was 38-24 the final score. Gave the Wildcats its 10th win for the season, only the fourth time they've done that. Wildcats and Sooners are going to be moving into new conferences for the upcoming year. Arizona is moving into the Big 12, while Oklahoma is going off to the SEC with Texas. So there's going to be a lot of interesting things to go on here. A lot of Arizona's good talent that made this past year very special will be coming back. However, we have a new coach. All right, our head coach got poached up to Washington, and I won't discuss much about it because I'm too pissed off with it. But Arizona allegedly has the coach. They now have a coach that they have desperately wanted. So it's going to be interesting to see how this ties out. All right. So we got a new coach, a new conference. We still have most of our good talent coming back. So there's going to be a lot to look out for during the upcoming off season. Mr. Wildcat will have a lot of videos coming out pertaining to the transition, so be on the lookout for that. Make sure you hit the subscribe button on my channel if you have not done so already, so you'll be the first to catch those updates pertaining to Arizona and their new homes in the Big 12. And as for you, Oklahoma, best of luck to you in the SEC. It's going to be interesting to see how things turn out, especially now that Nick Saban is retiring. Thank God. Okay. So today we are going to be looking at. All right. So what episode is Mr. Wildcat going to be reviewing today? Well, we're going to be looking at. I've decided to hit. We're going to be looking at. The next couple of videos we're going to be doing will focus on the attempted spinoffs that were done right directly from Married Children. So there are 3 episodes of Married Children that were actually made to be attempted spinoffs. Okay, they were made to be spinoffs into new shows. Okay, so an example would be like All in the Family wind up doing. They did a pilot for Maude, and they brought B. Arthur in to play this very liberal lady Maude, and she got in a very fierce head-to-head with Archie Bunker. And looking at that, they figured this is a attempt to spin. Okay, this is a show of its own. So you have a TV show. So you have Maude that spun off from All in the Family. Shortly after that, the Jeffersons spun off from All in the Family as well. So those are two shows. Not sure if there's any others that spun off from All in the Family, but we do know that Maude and the Jeffersons were both spin-offs from All in the Family. Speaking of the Jeffersons, Michael Moyer and Ron Levitt, the two co-creators from Married Children, they actually worked on the Jeffersons, believe it or not. Pretty interesting on that. Okay. Other examples, you have the show Happy Days that aired on ABC from the mid 70s to the mid 80s. Okay. Harry Winkler, he wound up playing Arthur Fonzarelli, or the Fonz. Hey! They wound up getting a couple of spin offs of their own. Laverne and Shirley, all right, you've seen that with Penny Marshall and Cindy Williams. That was a spin-off from Happy Days, and he also had another show called Joni Loves Chachi. That was also a spin-off from Happy Days. And here's an interesting fact about Joni Loves Chachi. And okay, who know? This was from an episode of the Hollywood Square. So, who knew that you can get so much knowledge by watching game shows? First episode of the Joni Loves Chachi series was the highest-rated program in the history of Korean television. Why? Pretty interesting, okay? Chachi is Korean for penis. Penis, 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 penis is everywhere. So, these are examples of attempted spin-offs. So, there are times that Fox attempted to spin show. Married Children was a very hot asset for the Fox network, and Fox decided to do some attempted spin-offs. Okay, if these other shows did very well from spinning off from the other shows, let's see what can happen when we try to spin something off from Married Children. All right. So the first attempt was the one we're going to be doing today, which is Top of the Heap. All right. And then in season 9, you would have another episode called Radio Free Tremaine, which that's a review we'll be doing. That's going to be my next video we're going to be reviewing, so be on the lookout for that. And then you have that infamous episode from season 10 called Enemies. Okay? The episode that Married Children Podcast was so disgusted with, they had to shoot down a shitload of liquor just to get through that review. Okay. Yeah, they can pretend. Matthew can pretend that it was his birthday celebration, and if yes, it probably was. But that was a pretty clever way to celebrate his birthday, getting drunk over enemies. And that's someplace really romantic, the bathroom. And I hate to gross you out, but that will be. I am going to be revisiting that episode. Okay. So, bring the barf bag and the liquor. Okay. A lot of my feelings for this particular episode I'm going to share from my review. All right. But I need to do a little bit of a background before we actually kick into this episode. So, they decided, all right, this was Married Children's 100th episode, and I believe it was the first show on the network to hit that milestone. And a 100th episode is a huge fucking deal for a specific TV show. And the reason why is because it gives you the opportunity it provides the opportunity for the producers to make some really good money, all right, to cash in really well, by allowing the show to go into reruns, mainly in syndication. So it allows you get the green light now to sell your show to all these local stations throughout the country, airing 5 nights a week, okay, which provides you an opportunity to build your audience, okay? Because we all know when Married Children first premiered in 1987, not many networks they had access to the Fox network. Okay, only a couple of major cities in the country had clear access to Fox, while everybody else had to settle for those clumsy rabbit ears and huge forks like assume Fox network viewing positions. Okay, so when you in seasons 9 and 10, when you see the Bundys assuming their Fox network viewing positions, okay, they're poking fun at how difficult it was to access Married Children during its early days. Okay, so okay, they just weren't doing it for fun. They were poking. They were poking fun at themselves, and they knew how to poke fun at themselves, and they did a good job with it without getting offended with it. Okay. So anyway, once you hit the 100th episode, it gives you the opportunity to build your audience. It gave the audience an opportunity to access those earlier episodes that they never had access to before. Okay, first 2 or 3 seasons of Married Children were not accessed by most of the country because of the accessibility of getting the Fox network. But it wouldn't be until about 1990 that most of the country would actually get the Fox network. Okay, so so it allowed local syndicated stations like in some markets it was the local Fox station. Other markets it would be the local NBC station, or like it would be like Fox. Some would be NBC, some would be CBS, some would be ABC, some would be independent. Like it didn't matter like which network your particular local affiliate catered to. The local networks they had a wide variety of time slots to fill with programming. Okay, some of it was local, most of it was syndicated. Okay, you wind up going to these conventions to find TV shows to fill your time slots. Okay, the game shows Wheel of Fortune and Jeopardy. Okay, they've been on the air for 40 years now. Okay, they wind up having to sell. They had to sell those shows to local affiliates in order to pick up on their channels, and they would air it on at the same time slot every single day. It's like Monday through Friday from at 7 o'clock. You would have this show, 7:30 this show. Okay, same thing with Married Children. Like you would, depending on where you were, like some stations would have it on in the morning, some would have it on in the afternoon. Some would have it on when kids first get home from school. Others would have it in the evening, and others would have it during the overnights. Okay, so I know when I first came across Married Children, it was through syndication. The Phoenix station UPN 45. UPN 45, everything under the sun. That no longer exists, my friends. So that was the jingle that they had for the station. So they wound up doing like Montel Williams, Ricky Lake, and Jenny Jones. Okay, in a 3-hour block. I remember they had commercials for that. Okay, and that's another example of syndication. Like Jenny Jones and Jerry Springer. Like these are syndicated talk shows. Which station? Okay, you would have like an NBC station here. You would have a CBS affiliate here. You would have a WB affiliate here, and a Fox affiliate, and an independent affiliate that would sign up. Say, I will pick up. We will pick up your show and air it in a specific time slot, Monday through Friday. Okay. So that's how syndication works, okay? And this was the opportunity for Married Children to grow its audience, and as well as get fatten the pockets of Michael Moyer and Ron Levitt. They're the ones that actually made the real money because they were the producers, okay? And it was the producers that cashed in on it, not the actors, the producers, okay? So that's, you know how like Seinfeld, a TV show like Seinfeld, they wind up doing, when they went to syndication, the only ones who actually pocketed money from those syndication deals were Jerry Seinfeld and Larry David, because those were the two producers. Jason Alexander, Julie Louis-Dreyfus, and Mike Richards, the three other main characters of the show, they didn't receive any money from this show, okay, from those syndicated deals because they were not producers, okay. Seinfeld and Leora Davids, like anytime when they went to syndication, when they signed network rerun deals with TBS and Comedy Central and Netflix, that's how they got the money, okay. So this particular episode, oh my god, okay. Um, it was the 100th. This is the 100th episode. It was they brought in Gary Cohen, who was a longtime director of the show. It was also co-written by Ron Levitt and Arthur Silver, both of whom would go on to create the WB show Unhappily Ever After, which wound up airing on the WB from 1995 to 1999. 2002, Unhappily Ever After would be voted by TV Guide as the 30th worst show in the history of television. And for those of you wondering, what was the number one show on that list? Jerry Springer. Jerry Springer would make a visit. He would make a appearance on Married Children in season 8 with the introduction of No Man. Okay, and that is an episode I do plan on revisiting. Even though I've already reviewed it, I do plan on revisiting the episode, especially now that he's gone, and I have since got myself a No Man t-shirt. So that's something to be on the lookout for during the upcoming year. So basically, top of the heap, you basically have, it mainly focuses on a father and son. Joseph Bologna, you have like Charlie and Vinnie Verducci, okay? Charlie was played by Joseph Bologna, and Vinny was played by Matt LeBlanc. All right, Matt LeBlanc would go on to do another show called Friends. All right, that wound up airing for 10 seasons on NBC from 1994 to 2004. Okay, a show I absolutely hate. Yet at the same time, get stuck watching at work all day long. Because TBS, that's the only show that TBS will air during the day. Okay. The only there's no main characters from the Bundys, or out of the 5 main characters of Married Children, Al, Peg, Kelly, Bud, Marcy, and Jefferson. Well, actually 6. So I don't know if Jefferson has been the official 6th member of the Married Children cast by this point, but in the opening credits, Jefferson is still not on there, so we're going to use 5. So out of those 5 main characters, Ed O'Neill as Al Bundy, the only one who actually appears. Okay, he's on there for about 4 minutes in the first act, and he's in there for the final 30 seconds, and we'll talk about that in just a moment. Okay. So basically, Charlie and Vinny, these guys were shoehorned into a previous episode They were shoehorned into an episode a few weeks prior. The episode Oldies But Youngins. That's an episode I do plan on reviewing. I've been wanting to review for the last year and a half, but I have not had a chance to do that just yet. All right. They were shoehorned into that episode, and is an excuse to introduce them into the pile of rubbish that we are looking at right now. Okay. But basically, Charlie, is that the father? That's the father, right? Okay. He is the super for this apartment building that they work in. Vinny is a son. He has okay. He is a boxer, and a loser boxer to be exact. All right. He's also got this little cat called Mr. Fluffy, who Charlie hates with his almighty. Okay. Charlie does not like him. In fact, when Mr. Fluffy's on the windowsill begging for food or something, Charlie will take Mr. Fluffy, throw him out the window. Now, I'm not sure exactly how many floors that this apartment is up in the air, but how in the hell is Mr. Fluffy surviving these falls? Okay. So the episode starts off with this messy looking apartment. Okay. Charlie comes out and throws Mr. Fluffy out the window. Vinny comes out with this little bandage around his chest, okay, where you pull it off and it pulls off his chest hairs. All right. I forget exactly what this was, but basically, Vinny had just lost another fight, and he feels like a bum. Charlie decides to make breakfast, which is a can of beans, okay, which is split between the two of them, and a slice of American cheese. Which, absolutely, I can't bear to watch this. This is absolutely disgusting. All right, and guess what? Charlie doesn't want Vinny to get messy, so he provides with napkins, which is toilet paper. Okay, you guys remember that toilet paper shortage 4 years ago? Motherfucker. Okay, had to. Okay, it was worth gold back. It was worth more than gold back then, and people would kill other people just to get their hands on toilet paper. Okay, working in retail myself, there were for a couple of months on hand. Okay, we don't know if we have toilet. Okay, they would line up in front of the store before opening for hours on hand. They would get there. Okay, at least 3 or 4 hours before we opened, possibly longer, just to be the first in line to get their hands on toilet paper and paper towels, which were very scarce. All right, and even if we did have them, okay, after a couple of days of this horse shit, right? After like about a week or so of this horse shit, the company finally comes out and says, we're going to put in a very strict limit of one toilet paper per customer per day. All right? In an effort to try to spread out the inventory. Because what you had before is the first group of people that would be into the store once they open, they would race to the very back and they would load up their cart with all the toilet paper they can get their hands on. Okay? Leaving nothing for everybody else. And they would basically, that was not a very good time to be living in. Okay? And it's also why, like, we need to why, okay, we have to keep stocked up. So, like, a big package of toilet paper from Sam's Club or Costco, that would last me a whole year. Okay? So, but I was always told, keep plenty in stock in case you have this shit happening again. Okay. So, going back to the episode, okay. Charlie wants Vinny to be more than what he wants Vinny to be more than what his father turned out to be. Okay. Then he gets a knock on the door by their local teenage neighbor, Mona Mullins, played by Joey Lauren Adams. Okay, I thought this lady had starred on that '70s show, but no, she actually starred in. She would actually return to Married Children in season 7 for as the fiance for cousin Jimmy. All right, she was cousin Jimmy's bride slash fiance. Okay, who Bud inadvertently slept with. You just slept with your cousin Jimmy's fiance. Okay. Well, anyway, she is the actress is of legal age in this episode. She was born in 1968, so they put her in her early 20s. But in the story plan, Mona Mullins, by the way, would go on to star in the actual TV show Top of the Heap. Top of the Heap, by the way, actually we will talk about this, but it is the only one of these 3 attempted spin-offs that actually got picked up by a particular network. So Fox actually picked up Top of the Heap, and it wound up airing for additional 7 episodes. Okay. By the way, and Joey Lauren Adams would go on to star in that TV show after it got picked up. But basically, Okay, she comes in. She asks Vinny to have Charlie go and fix every single appliance in her mother's apartment so that Mona and Vinny can be by themselves for 2 consecutive weeks. Okay, and basically, okay, Vinny says, "Why don't you come back later when you are of legal age?" Okay, shuts the door. Okay, next week, come to the shoe store. Okay, Gary's Shoes and Accessories, where they are greeted by Al Bundy. Okay, this visit to the shoe store only lasts about 4 minutes, and it's for the most part the only time that we actually see any of the main characters of Married Children in this episode. All right. So basically, Al wants to strangle the hell out of Vinny because Al had gambled his TV on Vinny's fight. Vinny lost the fight, so Al lost his TV, and he now can't watch TV anymore because of it. So he wants to strangle the hell out of Vinny. And then Charlie has to remind him, strangling him is not going to get your TV back. Okay. Al then talks about like how Vinny, like how she when Peggy was being conceived, or when Kelly was being conceived, he put his foot in Peggy's mouth. Okay, so he could watch Get Smart. And there are some quotes here, so let me see if I can go into this. So, okay, that TV was my baby. It got me through a lot of rough, tough times. I watched it when we conceived our 2 kids. I still remember my forearm in Peg's mouth to shut her up, so I can hear Get Smart. Yeah, and for Bud, I wised up. Put her head by the foot of the bed, so I could watch too. Now it doesn't matter which way I turn her, the magic is gone. Okay? So basically, Charlie has brought Vinny to the shoe store to get so that Al can give Vinny some advice. Okay, Charlie wants Vinny to marry a rich millionaire so they can get out of poverty. Okay, Al basically says to Vinny, "Don't marry, don't marry." Okay. Okay. Vinny talks about how he got himself a job as a busboy, thanks to some of Charlie's connections. Okay, and Charlie's not too happy about Vinny being a busboy. He wants him to be a little more than a busboy. All right, he wants him to be rich, not having to work. So, okay, Al, you're not much more than a busboy. My kid's at a difficult age where he might just turn into a you. Help him out. Give him some advice. Don't marry. Don't marry. It's only good for the woman. You see, women got a maid. They find some guy to marry, then they steal his youth, his paycheck, and his dreams. Oh, yeah. Then their butt gets bigger. Then you die, and their butt gets smaller, till the next guy comes along. Ah, next to being a dog, being a beautiful woman is a thing to be. Okay? So basically, um, Charlie has an idea, a Verducci plan to be exact, and he wants, and it requires Vinny's participation. Vinny wants nothing to do with it, but basically, there is a social gathering that Charlie will be going to. Okay, Vinny's a busboy. All right, he does busboy work at these social events. Charlie wants to go to this social event. All right, they go dress up in tuxedos, grab a bite to eat. He wants Vinny to flirt with these women, marry a millionaire. Okay. Vinny doesn't want to do it. And you know what Charlie says? The kid thinks he actually has a vote. So that's the end of the first half. We then go to this. The second half is pretty much for the most part at this social gathering, and you have Charlie trying to teach Vinny how to fit in. All right. Let's see if I can talk about that. Right? So, see if I can. So the only three quotes that we have. So, okay. So Charlie has basically, he said he's read three different books and has taken ideas to blend in with their socialities. Trump, the Wall Street Journal, and Rich Babes in Chains. If you ever get in an awkward position, if you ever get into an awkward situation, use one of these three ideas. How about that market? Damn Democrats. Punish me. I've been very, very bad. And I should not be laughing at this shit. Like, what the hell? Like, okay. So so Charlie starts flirting with so basically so while at this high society fundraiser, Charlie he fends off some come-ons from a rather large rich woman played by Diana Bellamy, okay, who is playing Kathleen Morgan. Now Diana Bellamy, all right, is probably the only other character is probably the only other actress who has appeared on Married Children before. Okay, she was the first lady that Ellen insulted in the pilot episode back in season one. She also resurrected. She also appeared towards the end of season one in the episode "Where's the Boss," and then she also made one final appearance in season 11, "Crimes Against Obesity," where many of the women that Al had insulted throughout the show's 11-year run came back to put Al on trial for his inappropriate behavior towards them. Okay, Diana Bellamy's character in that episode was basically the ringleader of that trial. We're trying to teach your husband that his behavior towards us is unacceptable. But a better use of your time is to teach each other the words "no thank you" I'm full. Okay? So he starts flirting with these Charlie starts flirting with these high end guys, trying to get them to get Vinny a job at one of their factories. Meanwhile, Vinny is sitting there flirting with the waitresses. All right, he would rather be with the waitresses than try to flirt with one of these rich older women. And Charlie's not having any of it. He just keeps dragging him around. Okay, stop flirting with the fucking waitresses. Okay, gets to the point where Charlie winds up bringing Vinny over to these other guys in an effort to have them meet and get him a job. And they ask Vinny where he went to school. One, he says that he went to Yale. One of the guys had a son who went to Yale, so he brings him over to try to verify the credentials. Then he says, "Oh, did I say Yale? I meant Harvard." Another guy says, "Oh, my son went to Harvard. Let me bring him over." Okay. "Oh, did I mean Harvard?" And he tells Charlie, "Where the hell did I go to school? Get out of here." Okay. If probably a big mistake using Harvard and Yale. All right. If he had mentioned like USC or Stanford, he probably would have a better chance of getting away with this shit. Okay. Well, Stanford, that was a law. Stanford has an elite law school of itself. So let's talk briefly about Harvard University. So Harvard University, founded in 1636, it is the oldest institution of higher learning in the United States. Okay, it is famous for its business and law schools, most likely. Okay, And it's also famous for producing a wide variety of congressmen, U.S. presidents, and members of the U.S. Supreme Court. Okay. Harvard was a huge emphasis on the 1973 film The Paper Chase, okay, with Timothy Bottoms, Lindsay Wagner, and John Houseman. That's a film that I had reviewed last year, so feel free to check that out, all right, if you have not done so already. Uh, okay. And then meanwhile okay, so Harvard is over is in Massachusetts, just north of Boston. Yale, on the other hand, is a private Ivy League school in New Haven, Connecticut, founded in 1701, third highest, third oldest institution of higher learning in the United States, right behind Harvard and the College of William and Mary. So, William and Mary, which is in Virginia, opened in 1693. Harvard opened up in 1636. Okay. Yale was instated in 1701. Okay. It is organized into 14 constituent schools, including the original undergraduate college, along with the Graduate School of Arts and Sciences and its law school. Okay. So it's mostly famous for its law school. Okay. So so basically, see Kathleen, who's the older lady that the big lady that has had her eyes on Charlie throughout the show throughout the whole episode, comes up to Charlie towards the end and says, "We have another party next week, but I don't see your name on there." And Charlie winds up having to kiss her in order to get his name on that list. Okay? So we wind up going back to the apartment. Vinny's playing with Mr. Fluffy on the couch, while Charlie is in the bathroom trying to, gargling a shitload of mouthwash into his mouth to try to get that lady's taste out of his mouth. And then then Vinny talks about how he's not going to be home for about a year because he wound up getting a shitload of phone numbers from that social event that Charlie made him go to. Okay? So he is quite a very, very famous ladies' man, might I add. Okay? And eventually, Charlie is not too thrilled, and he says, "You're not going to date any one of them until I approve of them." You hear me? And then eventually, we get to dark. Vinny and Mr. Fluffy, they're sitting on the couch. They're sitting on the couch sleeping. When somebody breaks into the apartment wearing a mask, they take the mask off. It is Al, who is there to steal their TV. in in retaliation for him losing his own TV in a bet against Vinny. Okay? So Al picks up the TV and he gets halfway to the door where we go to a freeze frame, and that is the end of the episode. Okay? Oh my god, this lasted a little bit longer than I wanted to. Alright? But alright, so let's go through the trivia, okay? So the title of this episode is likely a reference to either the 1980 film or 1989 CBS political drama Top of the Hill. All right. This is also the 100th episode of Married Children. The 100th episode of a television series is usually considered a special event because it means that the show is likely going into syndication reruns, as Married Children eventually did. But it's also rumored that many people did not realize that this was the show's official 100th episode, considering that Al himself is the only Married Children star in the episode and only appears briefly. Katie Seagal, Amanda Beers, Ted McGinley, Christina Applegate, and David Faustino. None of these guys appear at all in this episode. This is also the pilot for the spin-off series Top of the Heap, which would go on to do an additional 7 episodes on Fox, and it's the only one of the 3 attempted spin-offs to actually get picked up for additional episodes. Okay, As indicated by the production code, this was the 25th episode film, but the 20th to have aired. Wound up airing the same night as Kids What You Gonna Do into a special 1 hour special. Joey Lauren Adams, who played Mona, would later appear on Married Children as Cousin Effie and Janie. Okay. Diana Bellamy, who played Kathleen in this episode, previously appeared as Nancy, one of the fat women that Al had to deal with during season 1. Charles Howerton, who played Nelson in this episode, previously played Brooke's father in One Down, Two to Go. So, Nelson was one of the guys that Charlie was socializing with. All right, he's one of the older guys. Um, Basically, that the actor who played him, he played the father of one of Kelly's friends. Kelly had moved out of the Bundy household in One Down, Two to Go, moved in with one of her friends, and her friend's father eventually got knocked out because Al originally thought that Kelly was dating this older guy. Okay. Charlie reveals that he was a U.S. Marine when he decides to kiss Catherine. Joseph Baloney, who played Charlie, was actually a U.S. Marine Corps. He was actually in the U.S. Marine Corps, having started tour of duty after college. In the episode, in addition to Ron Levitt and Michael Moyer, Arthur Silver was credited as another executive producer in the intro. This made the animated executive producers split into unanimated executive producers and executive producer. Vinny tells Mona he'll go out with her when she isn't a felony, implying that she is a minor. In real life, Joey Lauren Adams, who played Mona, is only 1 year younger than Matt LeBlanc, who played Vinny. As she was born in 1968, she was around 23 years old when this episode was filmed. According to the Internet Movie Database, IMDb, this episode is the lowest rated in the Married Children series, with a rating of 5.6 out of 10. Although this episode is the pilot episode of Top of the Heap, it is not featured with the other Top of the Heap episodes on the streaming service Crackle. This is likely due to the fact that Crackle does not have the rights to stream Married Children. Instead, it makes The Last Temptation of Charlie as its first episode. Okay. Couple of cultural references here. So, Al tells Charlie that Kelly and Bud were conceived while he was watching the 60s television series Get Smart. Al previously mentioned wanting to watch Get Smart on a portable TV instead of having sex with Peggy in the season 3 finale, Here's Looking at You, Kid. Al likely watched Get Smart on late night TV as the series was off the air, as far as the first run episodes are concerned, before Kelly was even conceived, as she gave 18 as her age earlier this season. Alright, while talking to Charlie about a philosopher he learned about in high school, he mistakes the Greek philosopher Plato with the Disney cartoon character Pluto. To prepare themselves for being fancy at the party, or for being at a fancy party, Charlie mentioned that he had read 3 different books and taken their ideas to blend in with the socialites. Trump, The Art of the Deal, the cultural How About That market, is likely referencing Donald Trump, who at the time was known for making business deals in the real estate market. You also have the Wall Street Journal with the quote, "Damn Democrats," likely referencing to a publication's conservative bent, as it tends to be more popular amongst conservative readers. And then Rich Babes in Chains, which is probably made up for this episode. Punish me, I've been very, very bad. Okay. So that is that. Before we go into my review, let's talk briefly about Matt LeBlanc and Joseph Baloney. Okay. Start with Joseph Baloney to be exact. So, he's born December 30th, 1934. Died August 13th, 2017 at the age of 82. Okay. He was a construction. He appeared as Charlie Verducci on Married Children in the Top of the Heap pilot, as well as the episode Oldies But Youngins earlier on in the season. So, Joseph was born in in Brooklyn, New York, a graduate of Brown University, where he majored in art history. Um, he wound up starring in a short-lived TV musical sitcom Rags to Riches as the millionaire mogul turned foster father Nick Foley. The show aired for 2 seasons. He also played the mad scientist in the 1985 comedy Transylvania 6 5000. From 1996 to 1998, he voice acted the character Inspector Dan Turpin, a hot-headed police officer modeled after Jack Kirby in several episodes of Superman the Animated Series. Okay, he would pass away in August 2017 from pancreatic cancer at the age of 82. All right. Matt LeBlanc, he would have a little more success. He would have more success than Joseph Bologna. Born July 25th, 1967. Okay. Um, he is best known for starring in a little TV show called Friends. All right. That wound up airing on NBC from 1994 to 2004. Okay. He wound up playing the character Joey. All right. Coincidentally, Joey became a spin-off of the show Friends. Okay. After Friends left the air in 2004, Joey was turned into a spin-off. They wound up airing 2 seasons of that from September 2004 until August 2006. Total 46 episodes were produced of that spin-off. Okay. So that was that. 2011, LeBlanc began starring as a fictional version of himself in episodes of BBC Two Showtime television series created by Friends co-creator David Crane and Jeffrey Carlick. LeBlanc won a Golden Globe Award for his work on episodes, after being nominated 3 times for his work as Joey Tribali on Friends. LeBlanc currently stars on a CBS sitcom, Man with a Plan. All right. He wound up marrying model Melissa McKnight in 2003. Has a daughter named Marina, born in 2004. Melissa and Matt, they both divorced in 2006. All right. Okay, see. 2006 to 2015, LeBlanc was dating Andrea Anders while they met while filming the short-lived sitcom Joey. LeBlanc has recently dated Top Gear producer Aurora Mulligan since 2016. Okay, so that is Top of the Heap in a nutshell. All right. So, all right. This is now for my review of the show. All right. Is this a joke? I mean, this is Married Children's 100th episode. And you give me this? Married Children deserved a lot more than what they got here. All right? Now, I know I'm going to be sharing the same kind of, some of the things that. Now, if you watched the Married Children podcast review of this episode, okay, you're probably going to notice that I'm going to be saying some of the same things they did because they were pretty much on the spot. But basically, this is a 100th episode of Married Children. I mean, the 100th episode of a TV show is an opportunity for you to celebrate. I mean, the first 100 episodes. All right. Some shows like Seinfeld decided to do a clip show. Other shows like Simpsons, they did Bart's biggest prank ever. This show, on the other hand, decided to do a TV spinoff that didn't make any sense and would eventually get its plug pulled within 2 months. You've got to be fucking kidding me, okay? Alex Edwards did word this perfectly, where he said, Married Children got cheated twice in monumental episodes throughout the show's run. They not only got cheated out of a proper 100th episode, like they did right here, they also got cheated out of a proper series finale. Married Children was the momentum, was the monumental foundation with how the Fox network got up and running. It was a huge asset to the network, all right? They deserved a lot more than what we had here, all right? We don't know who the hell these characters are. And quite honestly, I'm fucking sick. It grosses me out. But I am going to tell you one thing right here, all right? And I sure hope I don't get flagged for this, okay? I am going to play a little bit of Alex's review of this episode on the Married Children podcast. He words it perfectly, all right? And this is probably the most entertaining part of the whole episode, all right?
Because it was Married with Children and Al was in it sometimes, and I'm just waiting for the next Al, and I'm just going along with all this. But I can honestly say, even as a kid, once the DVDs came out and you could really access this like all the time, I'm not sure I watched it more than the one time when I watched it again and said, oh yeah, this thing. And then that was it. I don't think I ever watched it again, and I bought these things like 15 years ago. Right. Yeah, so I haven't watched this episode 15 years, yet I watch this show every year of my life. So, and then like I said, it even leaves a bad taste in your mouth with the Go With Him episode, because then these guys are in it, and you're like, oh, right. Like I was trying to forget about this. Right, but then it wasn't such a bad episode, thank God, that one, because it really wasn't about them. Yeah, I don't know. How many cats? 2, just for Al's stuff, really.
We'll play a little bit more of this in just a moment, but basically, you saw Alex gave this episode a 2 out of 5, mainly for Al's appearances. Now, unfortunately, Al's appearances in this episode, despite the fact you had a 4-minute appearance in the first act and a 30-second appearance towards the end of the episode, it was enough to cut it. All right. And Al was not, even though Al was used in the episode, it was not, he was not the main characters of this whole show. And it completely grossed me out, okay? I'm going to give this episode something that I have never given it before. And this is a rating that had only been used twice in the show's run on the Married Children podcast. 0.0. All right. Coincidentally, Dan on the Married Children podcast, who reviewed this episode with Alex, he gave this episode a 0 as well, and he was absolutely disgusted with it. And in fact, it was the only time that anybody had given in any episode of Married Children a 0. Until the very last episode that got reviewed in January 2023, when Alex and all 6 co-hosts from the show's final 4 seasons got together and reviewed the final episode of Married Children to air, Chicago Shoe Exchange, where you probably had at least 2 members of the podcast who also gave a 0. Okay, because it was not the way that they wanted. It's not the way they wanted Married Children to end. Okay, it's what they disclosed. This episode for me gets a 0 out of 5. All right, it gets nothing. You'll get nothing and like it. Is what they say in Caddyshack. And the reason why is because, um, okay, it's not because, it's mainly because of the way this episode was used. All right. It's the fact that this was the show's 100th episode. They got cheated out of a proper 100th episode. They wasted it on this. All right. And even though Michael Moyer and Ron Levitt, they had nothing to do with this having to be the 100th episode. It was strictly Fox's idea. It's what Michael Moyer had told the Married Children podcast when he got interviewed 2.5 years ago. And they were asked about Top of the Heap and their attempt to spin off. Like, these were not our ideas. This was strictly the idea of the Fox network. Okay? Still, shame on Fox for even for being stupid enough to consider such a thing as this. All right, but I will. But just for the hell of it, we do need a little bit of a left here. So I'm going to play about another minute or two of this review here. So because it is hilarious. Okay, or the way that Alex says it. All right.
And I'm not just saying that because we like him and all that. That really was the best stuff, and it was the best delivery and all that kind of good stuff. And the rest, I don't know, man. Like, it just seemed like when I watch this, it's like this had to be made. Right. Like you think if you're gonna do something, okay, guys, we have an audience. Let's use that audience to get 2 shows out of this. Then we can make some more money because who knows how much longer people are gonna want to watch Married with Children. So we got to start doing our next venture and just piggyback right off of this. And it's like, okay, well, what kind of idea do you have? Well, a dad and his son are poor, okay, and they want money. Oh, okay. And, yeah, I have all these ideas. We should really do it. Oh, okay, we'll write up a script. And they have that script. They're like, I see. How's the market? Damn Democrats. Wow, this is really good stuff. Yeah. What do you think? What is this they're doing here? Oh, well, he's going to lie because he's going to get caught that he's going to the wrong college. Oh, wow. That's pretty good. What is this here? Oh, he's throwing a cat out of a window. And it's their cat. Yeah. Oh, wow, that's funny. Well, what is he doing right here? Oh, well, this is the part where he just tells the lady, like, if you can't go to the bathroom, that's where I'm going to be. Wow. Okay, we got to get this made. Do you know who you want for the part? Like, could you imagine this? Who's doing this? Who's talking like this? Like, any of that's good. Who's saying, wow, great, let's go? Can we get the real director from the show so it seems seamless? Yeah, I guess. Like the whole thing just seems so Right, exactly. So, that's it. So we got through Top of the Heap. Oh, thank God.
Yeah, thank God. I'm just thankful that I don't have to touch this shit no more. We were eventually going to hit Top of the Heap one way or another. I'm just thankful that we did it now and got the fucking thing out of the way, for Christ's sakes. All right? So that's all we have. Alex, I hope you were okay with me using this quote, but you worded it perfectly. And I wanted to use your words, all right, for how this episode was really about, how everybody felt about this episode, all right? So that's, we're officially going to be laying Top of the Heap to rest now. And I guarantee, please join me next week. We're going to be back for another Married Children review. We're going to be doing the second attempted TV spinoff, Radio Free Tremaine. All right, some of you guys probably remember me doing a small review of Radio Free Tremaine on the Married Children Podcast Facebook group, but we are actually going to we're going to be revisiting the episode like I have been on my YouTube channel. We're going to be doing an official review of that episode here on YouTube. So that's going to be a fun one to watch, okay? It features, you're not going to want to miss this because it features a very special guest who had appeared on the early years of Married Children, all right? You know who it is? If not, you'll have to tune in to find out. That's all the time we have for today. Mr. Wildcat here reminding each and every one of you to be good, be careful, and behave.